So this is the second part of the series in the 3D Godot FPS, and it's going to be a fun one. This time we are more in Godot, and we're done with Blender. We are going to be hooking up and rigging a lot of our UI scenes, so have fun. Alright, so next we're going to need a character player that we can have fight the plant boss. So let's don't worry about saving the scene. I'm going to use this reference from Kids Can Code, first person character in Godot. I've never done a first person scene. I usually do third person, but I mean it's pretty similar. But I am just going to copy and paste because it'll be much faster than me creating it from scratch. Alright, so as I said, we're just going to shamelessly copy and paste from Kids Can Code. So the first thing we need to do is make a scene with a kinematic body. We'll bring that in, and then we'll make we need two collision shapes. Let's see, one, and then bring another one, collision shape. One is going to be the feet, and the other is going to be the body. And I just remember these from my experiments that I did. We're going to do 0.25 here, and then we're going to do, I think, 0.5, and we're going to turn it 90 degrees. Oh, sorry, that was translation. 90 degrees. Oh, my bad. One more time. 90 on the X. There we go. Control save. I'm going to save this as let's see, player A, just in case you make another player or something. But we'll bring it up to right there. And then the second one, the feet, is going to be a box shape. And I don't even know if this is necessary. This is just how it's done in the guide, so we're going to follow along with that. You know, this is mostly for like if you're going to do platforms or something, but who's to say we don't do platforms later? So that's going to go right there, and yeah. So the next thing we're going to do, let me take a look at the guide. Okay, yeah, the camera, and then we also need, we're going to put in a spatial, and that's going to act as a pivot, so we'll name it pivot, and then we'll add a camera onto that. And we have to name it just like this to get the benefits of the script. So we're going to go ahead and attach a script to that. And then I'm just going to delete literally everything. We'll go to the guy's website. We'll copy this. And then we'll Control V. We'll go back. Copy this. Control C. And then we'll enter Control V. And then we'll copy all this. I think we just press that. Again, we'll come down, Control V, and then we'll do it one last time, and that should be all we need, I think. Yep. Close that. Come on down, hit Control Save. And we don't have these saved in our project settings, so we go to Project Settings here. We have to go to Input Map and put, see how it says Move Forward? We've got to put in a move forward, and we'll add, and then we've also got to do a move back. And let's see, is it just strafe left and strafe right? All right, strafe left, and then strafe right. So let's go ahead and we'll do physical key. Move forward is W. Move back is S. Strafe left is I think that's A, and then strafe right is D. So we'll do that, and then we've got the this is the mouse code right here. But we need to set our input, our mouse mode as captured. Right now our mouse mode is free. So we just need to go to func and then go ready, here, and then input, and then I think it's input dot mouse mode. Oh, it's set mouse mode. There we go. Set mouse mode. And then we just feed it that. So what that means, it's going to capture our mouse as soon as we jump in the game. So let's take our player, and we have, we'll just make a new scene, and we'll do merge from scene, and we'll bring in our GLB, bring it on in there, and then we will just close this, and we'll add, we'll link our player A, we'll open that up, and we'll bring him in, and then we'll run it and see what happens. Let's call this level 1. All right, let's go. Well, we're in the map for some reason. Oh. Let's exit out. What do we do wrong here? Yeah, kinematic body. So what if I delete the feet? Oh, that's, never mind, it wasn't that. It's that our camera is halfway in the ground. We'll take the pivot and move the pivot up to right there, and then we'll save that, and then we will go ahead and run it. All right, yeah, that's looking better. So we got our third-person character controller. We can look around, we can look at our enemy here, and then we'll, I guess, start working on their script, and we got to get some type of projectile for both of us to fire. So we're going to continue to set up our player character. We're going to, let's see, we're going to bring in a gun. I have this gun that I've created called the Bone Shot. That was just an old file that I have, kind of ridiculous, but you know, it'll work for what we have. So we're going to append that. We want to append it to the pivot, and let's go ahead and bring it in. We're going to rotate it, and then we're going to go here, and we'll click on the camera and say preview to see how that looks. Then we'll click on the bone shot, go to a transform, and we can move it. So we're going to bring it down and to the right, and probably forward a little bit. I think that looks a little better, and we're going to turn it a little bit that way, and turn it up like that to face the center of the screen, move it back just a little. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to save that, and then let's just go to our first level, and we'll see how that looks. So that's not bad. That looks pretty cool. So now we just need to give it the ability to fire. So this is the general flow of how it's going to work. We are on the bone shot scene here. I'm adding a script to it, and the player is going to click fire. We're going to check for input in the bone shot script. We will then spawn a bullet at the end of the barrel. The bullet will look at the collision point coming from our raycast. So the raycast that is shooting out of the camera, wherever this is hitting or whatever it is hitting, that is where our bullet is going to be traveling towards. And the bullet will be moving due to its own script. The bullet's going to have a script on it with a velocity, and that's going to propel it forward. So the first thing we're going to need is a reference to our raycast. So I'm going to just go into our player scene. That'll make this easier to see, and then I'll access the bone shot script here, and I will just say on ready var, and let's call it ray equals and we want to say get parent dot get node, and then in here we're going to go camera raycast. So we're going to go ahead and get the raycast, and then down here we're just going to make a quick function that's going to be func get ray collision points, and then we're just going to say return ray dot I think it's get collision points. There we go. So that's just gonna return wherever our raycast is hitting. We also need a place for our bullet to spawn from, so I'm going to go back to my bone shot scene, and plus I'm going to add, and then we're going to add a position 3D. So we'll add that there, and we'll just bring it up right to the end of the barrel. Really doesn't even have to be that exact. I think that's a little better. That's fine for me. And I'll control save that, and we'll go back to our script here, and we'll just go ahead and grab a reference to that as well. On ready var, and we'll call that position. Actually, we'll call that bullet spawn. We'll call that bullet spawn equals, and then we'll just do a get node and position 3D. So we've got our ray, we've got our where the bullet's going to spawn. Now we need the bullet itself, so we're going to say on ready var, and we'll say bullet equals load, and then we have to create a bullet scene. So I'll just make a new scene here. We'll say 3D scene, and right now we're just going to add in a mesh, just something so that we can see it, and then we can add collision later. So you can do whatever you want. I'm going to do a sphere mesh, and I already know what size works best for my gun. It's 0.25, and then we'll change this to 0.5. I'll control save, and I've done this a few times. As you can see, we're going to call this best bullet. We'll go ahead and save that. So let's go back to our bone shot script over here, and we need to, where is it, best bullet. Let's go ahead, put that there. So the next thing we need to do is check for input. So we'll say func input event, and if event dot is action pressed, and let's say fire. I think we want to do is action just pressed. Yeah, I think so. So then what we're going to do is instance our bullet and spawn it at the position, and then move it towards the raycast. So first we'll say var b equals bullet dot instance, and then we will add our bullet as a child of the scene. Add child and b. So we are adding our bullet as a child of our bone shot here. The next thing we need to do is set its transform where it's going to be in the world. So b.transform equals, and we're going to say bullet spawn dot transform, and I'm just gonna put that there. The next thing we need to do is say b dot set, not cert, set as top level, and set that to true. This essentially just means that it's going to move as if it was a child of the world and not a child of the gun. So when the character moves, it's not going to move with the gun. It's going to fire like a bullet would and just keep going forward. So then we need to say b dot look at, and we actually need to get our collision point from this function down here. So we'll say var collision point, and that's going to equal get ray collision point. And then in the lookout function, we'll go ahead and give it the collision point. I don't know how to spell it. So then the second argument we need to pass is a vector 3, and we'll just pass dot up. So that's just a enumerator telling it to pass in vector, I think it's 0, 0, 1, or whatever the hell it is. And then the next thing we need to do is say b dot velocity equals negative b dot basis dot z times muzzle velocity times b dot muzzle velocity. And we are going to create these variables in the bullet scene in a second. So this is just going to propel it forward. This makes it look at our collision point, and it's going to move towards that. And let me change that and make sure I spell it correctly. And then we'll come down here and we're just going to print out the collision points as well. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now that we have that, let's get to our bullet, and we are going to go ahead and just add a script to it. And yeah, best bullet, that's fine. Let's get rid of all this. Let's just make a couple of variables up here. We're going to say onReady var, and that will be muzzle velocity. And let's set that equal to 25, worked well in my tests. And then we're going to do another onReady var, and that'll be g. This is going to be gravity, and we're going to do vector 3 dot down and times 2. And then we'll come down here and we need a physics process. So we're going to say func underscore physics process delta, and then velocity plus equals g times delta. So what we're doing here is just applying a downward pressure to our velocity. What's going on here? Oh, I think I need to declare velocity. onReady var velocity equals vector 3 dot 0. Let's go ahead and do that. That makes me feel a lot safer. Alright, and the next thing we're going to do is look at, and we want to say transform dot origin plus velocity dot normalized. So what this is going to do is basically make us continually look forward. Transform.origin is where we are in the world relative to the world, and this is our velocity we're already traveling in. Since these are both vector 3s, we can add them together, and it's just going to propel us forward. It's a little confusing to think about, but it makes sense if you don't think about it. So vector 3 dot up. I didn't figure this out on my own, by the way. I copied this straight off, I don't know, somebody else. Velocity equals negative transform dot basis dot z times muzzle velocity. And then we'll come down here and transform dot origin plus equals velocity times delta. So we'll go ahead and save that. What's wrong here? Oh. And let's just see if that works. So we'll go to our level 1. Is action just pressed? Oh. Let's give that a go. Invalid get index basis. I think I need to add this. Okay, so we have a major problem, and that is that our raycast is not enabled because they are not enabled by default for some reason. So let's give that another go. There we go. That's looking a lot better. So now we can shoot, but you see if we look up here, it's just going to shoot at the last place we collided. So, because there's no collision up there. So how are we going to fix that? So what we can do is just add static bodies all around. So we'll go here, static body, and then we'll click on it and we'll say, collision shape. Collision shape, there we go. Alright, and we'll go ahead and make that a box shape because plane shapes do not work that well. So let's see if we can just make one. Can we just make one box like that? Actually, no, I don't think that's going to work. Let's, we'll go here and we're just going to completely encase this thing. So Control D, we'll bring that over here. Control D, we'll rotate that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We'll bring that over here. Control D, make another one. Control D, and then we'll go to the Z, and we'll rotate this. We'll make it bigger. We can make all of them bigger. It doesn't really even matter. And then we'll bring that here and rotate it. And just for good measure, we'll Control D and put one down here. And then I'll save this. And let's go ahead and run that and see if that works. Alright, perfect. We can shoot in any direction. And our bullets will never ever die. So we need to change that too. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is just for ease of access, we want to do this. If input dot is action just pressed and escape. I think it's what is it, just quit? Let me go to help. I know it's in here somewhere. Quit. So I think I can do git tree quit. There we go. So now if I run the game, we hit exit, the game ends. That's a lot faster. So next let's add collision to our bullet. I think that is best bullet. We'll grab that, we'll go here, and we're going to add a area, and then we'll add a collision shape, and the collision shape is going to be a sphere, and we're just going to make it pretty much the same size. I think we said 0.25, 0.25, and okay, I guess we don't have to change the other one. All right, so that looks good. Then we're going to go to our on body entered, and we'll say connect, and we'll connect that to our script. And for right now, we're just going to say print body.name. So print and then body.name. So then we will go to our plant. Let's go back to our level. We need to start adding a script to our plant. So let's go save branch as scene. We'll call it plant.tscn. Open up that scene. And then in this scene, what I'm going to do is just delete everything that isn't our plant mesh. So that stays, that's being deleted. We're going to delete that, and delete that, and delete that. So now we just have armature 1, armature 2. Yeah, we have our armatures. So first what I'm going to do is, so there's that one. Well, all right, Control D, and we're gonna go left, anim, middle, anim, and we'll grab this one down here and go right, anim. All right, so we're going to click on our left one, and to make this easier on ourselves, we're going to remove all the others. So we'll go there, and we'll say animation, remove. Middle, animation, oh shit. Right, we need you. Perfect. We'll go to automatic and playing. So now we got all 3 heads bumping to the beat. And so, all right, so now that we got all 3 heads moving, what we need to do is start adding, what I'm going to do is add a area to here that is going to be attached to the bone. And so when the player shoots the head, that area will send a signal to take health away from our plant. And you could make it a body, a kinematic body. This is going to move around, but I'm just going to do an area to make it simple. It's just the principles here. So what I'm going to do is go to my armature. I'm going to go to skeleton, and then I'm going to add a, I think it's called a bone attachment. And which bone are we going to attach it to? So this would be bone 7. Yeah, I think that's going to be the one that'll most closely resemble it. So then we're going to add an area to that and a collision shape to that. So the collision shape, probably a capsule would be best. That's a little too big. So we'll shrink it down, and then we'll go on the X, and we will rotate it. I've got to stop the animations. Where are you at? All right, cool it there, pal. Let's go top view. We'll grab our collision shape again, and we'll just match it on up. So a little bit bigger should be fine. I think you know, to me, for what this is, that should be just all right. So then if I play the animation again, you can see since it's attached to the bone, that's going to stay with it. So we've got the middle one done. We'll go to Armature 01 and we'll go to Skeleton Bones. We'll add a bone attachment. And then to that bone attachment, we'll add a collision shape. And area. And then a collision shape as a child of that area. And then we'll go to which bone do we want to attach to. Bone 13. Let's try that one. And the collision shape will be a, where is it? Capsule. So we'll just bring it on down. Look at it from another axis, and we'll keep on just lining it up. That's good enough for me. Let me save that so that if I go to my right anim and I play it, looks like we're moving along. So the next one we need to do is the left. So we'll go to skeleton. I'm not sure why that's appearing over there, and that kind of frightens me, but let's go to bone attachment, and let's go to bone. What happens if I click here? Okay, good. It is going on that side. And then let's go area. And to that we add our collision shape. Right there. Alright, so the bone attachment is going to be attached to bone 13. The area is right there, and we'll make a capsule shape. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, like this. And then we will shrink it on down. Go up there. And that's looking pretty good. We will control save, and let's get the right head, left head going. So there we go. We got three shapes there. So now that we have those, let's go back to our best bullet. And instead of body entered, we can keep that one just in case we want to use it later. Let's go to our area node and say area entered and connect spatial, and then we'll just control C, bring it on down, and control V, and then say area. We'll then tab over and save it. And then let me go here, and we're going to name these areas. So this is middle head. This will be right head. And then down here will be left head. Control save. We will save this, and then we'll open it. Oh, that's right, we got rid of some stuff. Let's go here, merge from scene, and then our GLBs, all files. We need to bring in the plant GLB. We don't want the armatures, we just want the planes. I think it should be everything. We'll bring that on in, and we should be good to go. Alright, so okay, yeah, we need to do a couple things. So let's go ahead and go to our, let's just code this out for right now. Oh wait, no. Yeah. Pass, and then we'll go to our player. We need to go to our bone shot, and I'm just going to hide that. Level 1, let's redo it. And then I shoot middle head, right head, left head. So we can exit out there. So the next thing we want to do is, instead of it just saying middle head, left head, and right head when we shoot them, we want some type of blood splatter so that the player knows they're being hit. You could also use some type of, like flinching animation, but I wanted to limit the number of animations, so we're just going to have blood splatter coming out of them. And the way we're going to do that is by making a particle system. So we're going to create a new scene, and then we'll type in particles. We then have emitting amount. We want to go to process material and new particles material. We then want to go to draw passes, and I'm going to use a sphere mesh just because that's what I want to use. I already kind of made a test scene, so I know that 0.6. Yeah, actually I think 0.12 was good, and here I think we want to be, I think it's 0.2, somewhere in there, probably 0.24. There we go. That's what I want. I just want to do a few things with our particle material. We want to go to gravity, we'll keep that. We want it to go down. Initial velocity, we want direction. So I want to go to 1 and have this at 0. And then initial velocity, we want to change. I don't think we want it that high, probably about 5. That's not bad. Maybe even less than that, 3. Yeah, no, we'll keep it at 5. The next thing we want to do is change the amount to, I'm going to just do like 50. The time is, we'll change this to 2. And then we also want to set this to 1 shot and the explosiveness to 1. That means they'll all shoot once, like that. Well, I don't know if it's going to do it in the editor again. But anyway, we will save that. Actually, you know what? We'll turn off 1 shot for now and then set emitting to true. And we'll save this as, let's say, blood spray. And the next thing we're going to do is go to our plant. And we're just going to grab our skeleton. I guess we'll just grab our bone attachment and we'll actually add it to that. We'll link our blood spray.tscn. Another thing we need to do is go back to our blood spray and click, let's see. Oh, it's always hiding. Oh, there we go. Local coordinates. Uncheck that so it moves in the world space, and then we'll control save. Control S to save again, and then we're just going to grab our particles and rotate them, and then maybe move them forward a bit. And that kind of looks like garbage, so we'll probably go back here, and we need to make these just a little bit smaller. So we come down to our draw passes, and let's, I think it's 0.6, and then 0.12. So that's half the size they used to be. You know what? That's not bad. Still a little bit too much velocity. So we'll go back. And we'll go to our initial velocity. What happens if we set this to like 2? I think 3. Yeah. So, you know, that's not bad for, you know, what we're making. And then if we go here, we can change our material by adding material to our draw passes. So we'll click on that, new spatial material, and we can just say albedo and make this red. So that's a real fast way to do it. So now we have our particle, and we just want to instance it when we shoot our plant, but we want to add one thing real quick. Let's do a timer, and we'll connect our timer with a timeout and connect that to, oh, let's make a new particle script, and let's call this, just going to call it blood because I already made a other script. I don't need any of this. All right, now we go to our timer, connect our timeout to the particles, and then all we're going to do here is just say view free. We're just going to get rid of ourselves when that reaches 0. So our time is 1 shot, and then let's go ahead and func ready. Or is there an auto start on timers? I forget. Yeah, auto start. So as soon as this timer is instanced, it's going to start running, which is what we want. And so now we're going to go back to our plant, and we're going to add a script to that. And let's just call this plant script. And I'll close this, close that, and open this up. So the first thing we're going to want to do is get a reference to our blood spray. So we're going to say on ready var blood equals load, and then we're going to pass in the scene we want to load. Let me just do that. Close this. Blood spray, is that the one? No, we want blood spray.tscn. So we'll load that in there, and then we're going to go to each of our heads here, and then we're going to say area entered, connect to our plant. We're going to do the same for each one of these. Area entered, connect to the plant. Then we'll go to the left head, area entered, connect to the plant. All right, we're going to get rid of that. We can get rid of that little part right there. And then what we're going to do here is say var b equals blood dot instance, and then we've got to select this bone attachment, and we're going to add our blood spray as a child of that. So let me go back to our script, and we need to get the bone attachment for the middle head. So that is that one. All right there. Nice. Okay. And then we're going to say dot add child, and then that'll be B. So let's go ahead and give that a try. I'm going to control save, and then we'll run it. We ran the wrong scene. Let's go back to level 1. Alright, so we're not instancing the blood. Child B. That looks good. We got that there. Let's go back to our blood spray. We'll take a look. Go to particles. Let's hit emitting. And then let's turn that off and set that there. And then we'll go to level 1, run that again. There we go. And you can see now we can shoot him as many times as we want. So every time we shoot him, we're going to get blood spray. So we'll just go ahead and do that for the rest of the ones we have. I'm just going to control C and control V, and then we gotta knock that back, and then we'll go here, get rid of it, control V, and we have to change this up a little bit. If we look at the right head over here, that's armature 001, so just 001, and that's also skeleton 2, And that means the last one here is 002, and that is skeleton, let's see, left head, skeleton 3. All right, so we're gonna try that out. Again, wrong scene. Go back here, and we'll go boom, boom, boom. All right, now we can add a health bar. Let's get out of here. All right, so now we're gonna start adding in health bars, and the way we're gonna do that is we have our player scene here with our camera. I'm going to create a new user interface scene in a new scene basically, and we're going to make a control node, and then I'm just going to call this UI, and we'll go ahead and save that as UI.tscn. Then we'll go back to our player, we'll have our camera here, and we will append UI. So we'll go ahead and save that, and if we go to our UI, we're just gonna throw a well, we are gonna need a texture progress, but right now we just need a label. This is just to test that it's working, and we'll just write some nonsense in here. We'll save that, and then we will go back to our level, and we'll run it, and we should see some nonsense up there in the corner, which we do. So we have this as an external scene to our player, and then what we're going to do is we're going to create another user interface scene. This is going to be plant enemy UI, and we'll go ahead and add a label to this. We're going to zoom out, and then we're going to click on the move icon right here and move this to maybe down lower in the screen, and we're just going to put plant enemy here, spelled incorrectly. We'll save that as plant enemy UI.tscn, save, and then we can link this here. And then if I go back to level 1, we can see that it's we have our text up the top left corner and the plant enemy here down at the bottom. We also need to make some changes because our UI is actually stealing our input and not allowing us to move around with our mouse. So I'll press escape, we'll go back to this one. So instead of setting it to pass, we have to set it to ignore, and make sure it's set to ignore on the top level elements, and then you should be good to go. And now we, oops, if I go back, we have complete control over the mouse again. Yay! Alright, so now that we have that, we're not going to do this in the editor. We're actually going to instance that through code when we load our level. So that way you could have basically, this would be a way to display like an enemy health bar, and you could do it for different bosses. Whenever the boss comes in, you just spawn this enemy UI underneath your UI. So I'm going to delete that for now. I'm going to add a script to this, and I'm also going to add a script to that there. We're going to use that in the future. And the future is now. So what we're going to do is go here and add a texture progress. So we'll pop that in there, and that's going to be our health bar. And so let's just name this health bar player, and we need a texture to go along with this. So I've opened up Gimp, and we're going to go file, new, let's go I don't know, 30, oh no, that's width, let's go 300 by 30. Actually, you know what, let's go 500 by 30 and we'll say okay. So that's going to be our health bar, and we can add in some fun little effects if we want. You know, we'll add some, let's actually take this and we'll make it darker, like a black color, and we'll just, you know, pop some stuff in there, make it look real cool. And we'll say okay, and then we'll say file, export as, and we'll call it progress use. Sure, why not? And let's go to my desktop, and we have the yeah, let's go to pics and we'll export it there. All right, then we're going to close that. We'll go up, we got the pics. We go to our health bar, we go to textures, and let's say the under, the over, and the progress. And then we're going to go to tints, and the under is going to be the black color, the over is going to be our green, and the progress is going to be red. Let me see, I think I have that wrong. So we turn this to 50. I don't think we need an over cover. Yeah, we're just going to use the under and the progress. So let's just yeah, set that there. That looks good to me. Let's take a look at what it looks like here. Man, all right, we got you know, nice health bar up there. We'll press escape. Now we got to do one for the plant enemy. Let's go texture progress, create, and then we'll go back to Gimp. We did what, 500 for this one, so we're gonna do new, and we'll go I don't know, 800 by 50. We'll make it big. We'll go like that. Control and the scroll bar to zoom out, and we'll pick a cool texture from over here, and we'll put some of those in there. That looks pretty cool. We'll control save. No, we don't want to do that. We want to go to file, export as, and then we'll call this one enemy progress. All right, export it. Close Gimp. Now we have enemy progress right here. We'll go to textures. We'll go to under, put that in there, and then progress, put that there. We're going to be on the move tool, and we're going to move this down here. We're also going to grab this label and put it over here, and we'll give it a name. This will be plant boss. All right. Also, I'm going to set this up a little bit. One thing you can do is go to, where is it? Theme, new theme. We'll grab that. Default fonts, new dynamic fonts. We go to our font here, and then we need to get a font. So I actually have some on my desktop. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and let's see, Blue Moon, a TTF. I'm going to use this one. We'll say copy to, and then where the hell is my dumb shit? All right, we'll just put it in the pics for right now. Close that down. We will load, and we'll go to pics, and we'll grab that. So plant boss, and then we'll go to settings, and we're going to set this to 50. All right, we're still on the move tool, and we're going to do the outline color of red, and we'll make that outline, and then the font. Let's see. I actually kind of like that look. So we're going to have that there. Texture progress, we have to add our tints. So the under will have the maybe kind of a darker tint there. And the progress is just going to have nice red. And we're going to set the value to 50 just to see what that looks like. And then we'll go to our level. Well, we will instance it through code, but for right now I'm just going to append it. So plant enemy UI. All right, we'll put that there. Control save, go to level 1, load it. And there we go. So now when we damage our plant, we want it to take off health until the plant eventually dies. Alright, so now we have kind of a unique and complex problem on our hands. We have our camera here, and that has our UI on it, which has a script, and we need to influence stuff on that. We need to change our health bar here. We also have our enemy health bar here that we need to instance on our UI, and we need to update that. And then our plant here has to register damage when we hit it. So we have a lot of different scripts and a lot of different things that need to be working together. So how are we going to pass variables and stuff in between them? What we're going to do is go to our script tab and say File, New Script, and this script is not attached to a node, so it's not going to be in any of our scenes. You can only access it through the scripts. So we're going to call this Game Manager. So we'll go ahead and create, and then we can just delete this and delete that, delete this stuff here, and then we'll control save. We'll then go to project settings, and auto load is what we want. And then we have to select Game Manager right here. We hit open and we'll add it. So now that's going to load automatically whenever our game starts. We'll go ahead and close it. And then here I'll just print hello. So now I'll just go back to our regular level 1 scene, and we should see hello down there in the console, which we do. So that's just a script that runs in the background whenever our game is run. It's not connected to any nodes in here, and that's useful for us because now we can reference these nodes in that Game Manager script and change variables in between them. So now we're going to start fleshing out our Game Manager script. So we'll click on Script up here. We'll then go to File, Open, and we'll select Game Manager. You can also select it over here in this little pop-out box. So I'm going to do this. I'll say func, and we'll register plant. And then we'll say plant here, and then we'll also say up here we're going to go to onReady var plant, and we're going to say plant equals plant. So we'll have that, and then we're going to copy this here, Control C. We'll go to our plant script, and then on the ready function, we'll place that in here, except we'll say Game Manager dot register plant, and we are going to send ourself. So that means we are the plant here, and we are sending a reference of our self, this script and this node, to our Game Manager script. So I'll go ahead and print plant, And if I go back to our level 1 and save that, I'll go ahead and escape. We printed out our plant here. So you can see we're getting a reference to that scene that's loading. So that's basically how you can register a unit with your game manager script, and there's a lot of things you can do with this. What I would do is I would have a bunch of enemies, and they would all be registered through the script, and then I would have a nav mesh, and I would assign which nav mesh goes to which enemy if you were building a complex game where enemies were moving all around and they had different paths to take. That's just one idea. So we're going to go ahead and do that again for our player. So let me go back here. We'll go to our player script here, and then in the ready function, we're going to say game manager dot register player, and then we'll pass in a version of ourself, and we'll go file. Well, let me do it this way. Game manager. That's faster. And we'll go down here and we'll say func register player, and we'll pass in the player, and we'll go here and then we'll say player equals player, and then print player. Control save. We'll go up here and then we'll grab this, Control C, Control V, and then Control C, Control V, do that there. So now if we run our level 1 again, we have a reference to our plant and our player. So from we can also call functions on these if we want, or we can get attributes of them. So I can get player dot get node, and let's see if I go to my player here, I want pivot slash camera. So you can stay on this one, game manager, and let me close that. So I want pivot slash camera slash UI, and then I believe that should work. Let's go ahead and give that a try, and we'll just Control X, put that here, and then use var I realize how redundant this is only after I've done it, but we're going to do it that way anyway. Alright, so yeah, now we have a reference to our UI. So there is one thing to take note of here. I have our plant on top of our kinematic body, and if I run this, you can see that the plant comes first, and then the UI comes second, because we're registering the player second, because that's the order here. But if I move this up on top and I run the scene again, we get our UI node first and our plant second. So keeping that in mind, I'm just gonna code the next part so that it doesn't matter which one of these is where. And the way I'm going to do that is by going to our game manager, and I'm just going to say if player, then we will sync. Let's call this sync boss UI. And that's just going to be a function, and we're going to Control C, and then we're going to make that a function down here. So then we'll do that, And then we're going to basically copy this, Control C. I'm going to go Control V down here, and instead of player, if plant. So in sync boss UI, what we're going to be doing is taking this plant enemy UI that we have here and then appending it to our player's UI down at the bottom so that we can see the enemy health bar. And that's kind of more of a modular way to do it. And the way we're going to do that is go back to our plant scene. We're going to go to our plant here, and then we're going to make another onReady var, and we're going to call this one sorry, I hit caps lock, plant UI, and that's going to be load, and we're just going to load in our plant UI. So I got to find it down here, tscm, put that right there. We'll Control save, and then we need to remember what this variable is, so we'll Control C on that, and then we will go back to our game manager, and right here we can get our plant, and then we'll say dot, and then we need the plant UI, and then we will say dot add. Oh, never mind, we need to go to, we still need that variable, but first we need the player. We've got to get our UI first. So Control C, Control V, and then we're going to say dot add child. And the child we want to add is our plant UI. We can get rid of that. So I guess let's run this and everything should work. Invalid type add child. Oh, that's right, we need to instance that. So let's go ahead and we'll say, what do we want to call this? PUI equals. And then we'll go down here and say P underscore UI, plant UI. So now that ought to run. And there we go. So now we have access to everything. That's looking just groovy. So to make things easy on ourselves, we're gonna make another onReady var up here, and we're gonna call this plant UI, and the next one we're gonna do is onReady var player UI. So we're just doing that to make it easier on ourselves, and we're gonna get rid of that. We don't need print statements. We'll get rid of that and this, and then we'll say plant UI equals, and then PUI, Control C, Control V. And then we also want to say player UI equals, and we'll just do this, Control C and Control V. So now we just have easy references to those things. So the next thing we're going to do is create another function in here, and we're going to call this func, and let's do update plant UI, and then we're going to do the same func update player UI. And then we'll just say pass and pass for right now. And actually, we're going to start. I left out the E on both. Perfect. So we're going to get the plant health. So we need to make a health for our plant. So let's go on ready var health equals 5. We'll save that. And then we're going to create a, well, when we get hit on any one of these, we're just going to say func, and this is going to be damage health. And then we're going to call this in each one of our register hit functions down here. So when we get shot, it's going to call damage health, and then we'll go back to our game manager and we'll say dot, and then let me check what that function was called. Update plant UI, Control C. Let's go back to our plant script, and then we're going to say Control V, and we'll just say 1. We're going to take away 1 point of health, and we'll go back to our game manager and we'll put in num here, and then we'll say plant dot health minus equals 1. And then we will check if plant dot health is less than or equal to 0. We will print you are dead. All right. Let's see. And if we go back to our plant script, oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Let me go here. Sorry, I got lost right there. So we go back to our plant script here. Update UI, all right. What was the health variable called? I think we just called it health, didn't we? Yeah, health. All right, there we go. Should be good to go. All right, let's go ahead and run this. And when I shoot it, you are dead. I think I made a mistake here in the update plant UI with the game manager. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are dead. Perfect. All right. All right, so now that we're doing that, subtracting from the plant's health, let's just go ahead and make the UI represent that. So plant enemy, let's go plant enemy UI, texture progress. I'm going to change the max value to 5 and the min value to 1. And the value right now, yeah, we're going to start at 5. And we'll save that. And then we'll go back to our script. Go to game manager. All right, so plant UI equals plant dot health. That's not how it's going to work, but let me just Control X. It's going to be down here. So plant UI dot get node, and then if we look at that, we need our, let's just rename this to health bar. So So we can stay on this one. We'll go back to our game manager and we'll say get node health bar, and we'll say dot value, and that should be fine. Yeah. So now let's give that a try. All right. Bam! Look at that. We're rocking and rolling. And one thing I did mess up on here is we want to set that to num. And I'll just get rid of that empty space. And eventually we'll do the same thing down here for the player once we have the plant firing some shots. So that's the thing we have to do next. Thanks for watching. This type of content takes a while to produce, but it is fun to do, and I learned a lot. So if you like the channel, feel free to check out more of the videos. Have a good one.